Right now at 6, get ready to pay more when it comes to running the tap and flushing the toilet.
They might see this show up in the bills beginning either in July or some of them will see it in August.
Plus, how the governor might take action after lawmakers rejected a bill to ban cell phones at school.
It's good for their well-being. Research is clear.
Then meet the first Portland Timbers coach focused exclusively on players' mental well-being, both on and off the pitch.
I think it's important to talk about it because it's better out than in, baby.
And later,
our 2025 Grand Marshal of the Grand Floral Parade is none other than,
as a young Portlander, really just a baby who's already won the hearts of the city, wins top billing in the iconic Rose Festival Parade.
First at 6, the fallout from a marathon city council session. We're talking 14 plus hours that ended with the preliminary approval of a new $8.5 billion budget for the city of Portland. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. Some of the key changes here, shifting $2 million of Mayor Keith Wilson's proposed police budget to support parks maintenance, along with hiking golf fees to $5 and hiking rideshare fees from 65 cents to $2 a ride to support PBOT. There is more. Councilors approved trimming $1.4 million from their individual budgets to support shared council resources, and also a drawdown on reserve funds to keep 31 permitting and development jobs through at least September. This is all in the works. It hasn't been finalized. Up next, a 3-week review process with the Tax Supervising and Conservation Committee. Then you see the calendar. It's back to council for a vote in early June, with a final adoption expected in mid-month. Keep in mind, though, there is a little bit of wiggle room in the timeline, if not the numbers, with a deadline to pass a budget June 30th. Let's bring in John Adams now, live in downtown Portland, because John, part of the changes, there are so many, include a hike on water and sewer rates. How much are we talking about?
Well, David, between water and sewer, we are talking a 6.3% increase that's going to go into effect on July 1st.
The ordinance is passed with 11 yes votes and 1 no.
Running your tap in the city of Portland will cost you more money. A 6.3% combined water and sewer increase will start showing up on customers' bills in either July or August, depending on your billing cycle.
When customers open their tap, we want to deliver clean, safe drinking water.
Priya Danapal, Deputy City Administrator for Public Works, tells us the city would be falling behind on upkeep to the system and would have trouble meeting federal and state regulations if the increase wasn't passed. Also on the way, a 2.9% processing fee for people who use a debit or credit card to pay their bill.
We've been absorbing the cost for the credit card and debit card transaction fees over the years, and that's added up to millions of dollars. And ultimately, it's the ratepayers who are absorbing those costs.
Those paying with cash or a checking account won't have to pay that fee.
I know that all of our families are really struggling, and any increase right now is difficult.
But Portland City Council President Alana Pertle-Guiney, who voted in favor of the rate increase, says it's needed despite the hardship it may cause.
These are increases that allow us to meet the needs of our utility systems. And when we put those increases off, we see exponentially larger increases later.
Well, David, a representative from Public Works told me the average water and sewer bill here in the city of Portland is roughly $140. So with this 6.3% increase, it's going to tack about $8 or $9 per month onto the average bill. David?
I suppose every dollar counts. John Adams, live downtown tonight. Thanks, John. In your headlines, authorities are asking for help finding a missing teenager they say went missing from Portland's OHSU hospital yesterday. 15-year-old Tyler Shoup is in danger, police say, and has a medical condition that requires hospitalization. Tyler is 5'9" with blonde hair and blue eyes, and he's believed to be in the Malala area. If you see him or know where he may be, you're asked to call 911. A person riding a scooter has died after they were hit by 2 vehicles in Clark County. The sheriff's office says this was around 9:30 last night near Northwest 78th Road and 78th Street. That's on the border of Vancouver and the Lakeshore neighborhood. Details are limited, though officials say both drivers stayed at the scene. The victim's name has not been released. Oregon's electric vehicle rebate program is back, and if you're interested, super popular, here are your options. First, the standard rebate applies to anyone buying or leasing a new eligible vehicle. It's worth up to $2,500. Second, the Charge Ahead rebate, which is geared toward low and moderate income households. That rebate offers $5,000 for used and $7,500 for a new eligible vehicle. There are limited funds. You'll have to act fast because once they are gone, as we've learned in the past, they are gone. Rebates will not apply to vehicles purchased before today. That is May 22nd. And as we head into wildfire season, a big chunk of eastern Oregon and central Washington could be left vulnerable due to cuts by the Trump administration. Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington says the cuts will leave the National Weather Service office in Pendleton without a meteorologist working the overnight shift. The Pendleton office, by the way, covers an area from Bend to Yakima to Northeast Oregon. Senator Cantwell asked the Commerce Department for an exemption, citing the public safety impact, but the administration went forward with the cuts and a hiring freeze. Matt?
Yeah, that is not good news, especially as we go into wildfire season east of the Cascades and thunderstorm season. So that is a rough deal. All right, out of the Oregon coast, you can see we're getting some clearing there right now, which looks great, 56 degrees. Still some scattered showers over us. They're pretty light and they're winding down. We've had some over in eastern Oregon too, and those are going to wind down as well. And in fact, when we look at our Skycam out of the reserve golf course, this clearing line is making progress towards us. The clouds are thinning. They're going to keep doing that as we go into the overnight hours too. So tomorrow looks like a great day. Mostly sunny, 63 at noon. We'll make it up to 72 tomorrow afternoon. Sunset now well after 8:30, 8:44 for tomorrow. Now, of course, a lot of people thinking about the Memorial Day weekend, and the forecast for that is also looking really good. Temperatures have changed a bit, a little bit warmer Saturday, a little bit cooler Sunday, but still around 80 and a lot cooler on Monday. We'll talk about those chances for showers and thunderstorms over and east of the Cascades through the weekend a bit later, David.
Looks like a stretch of beautiful weather. Thanks, Matt. This evening, we're taking a look at a side of the Portland Timbers you won't see anywhere else. A new member of their coaching team focused entirely on mental wellness. It's part of our Talk About It series, our commitment to highlight the people helping break the stigma when it comes to mental health. And if it sounds a little bit like Dr. Sharon on Ted Lasso, well, for this Paralympian, that's exactly the point.
I have found in my life that I've been the first of a lot of things, and it is exciting, but it's scary and sometimes really exhausting, right? There's no model to chase after. I'm Lacy Henderson, a Paralympian, an amputee, and I'm the first mental performance coach for the Portland Timbers.
And a cancer survivor who at the age of 9 lost her right leg. Though that didn't stop her from following in her father's footsteps, eventually becoming a U.S. national champion in track and field, breaking an American record in the long jump and a world record in the pole vault.
Being a woman, having a disability, being an amputee, a cancer survivor, how do you think that impacts how the team views you?
It's a very straightforward way of explaining that I also have had a complex life and that I know pain and I know struggle. Good morning.
At the Timbers practice pitch,
Come on, guys, focus.
Lacy keeps a close eye on the action.
Let's go. Half of it right now, since it's new for me still, is like learning soccer.
Though, as an athlete who co-hosted NBC's Paralympic coverage from Paris,
that it's not para-Olympian, it's Paralympian.
And who is now navigating her own retirement.
Uh-oh. Did I make all the wrong decisions in my entire life leading up to this point? Should I have done different?
I have anxiety. I think a lot of it may be PTSD from cancer.
Those feelings are pretty universal.
What do you do to take care of your own mental health?
Well, I'm still working with a sports psychologist. What's unique about sports specifically is like you put your body on the line every day for a career that's typically a pretty short window, and you feel like an island a lot of times. Let's go!
And as the team's first certified mental performance consultant some 6 months in,
the idea is to build emotional endurance while it gets really hard.
Lacy's working to improve the way the players and other coaches connect with each other.
Yes, I do.
And with themselves.
The potential for high performance happens when you are doing well mentally. We're not just a head floating above a body, right? They need to be connected.
Run! And perhaps her biggest cheerleader, head coach Phil Neville.
You talk about the technical side of the game, the tactical side of the game. For me, that's probably only a small percentage. The mental side of the game is more important.
Because he remembers what it was like to be a superstar. And at the age of 23, playing for Manchester United, what it was like to struggle.
I had the talent, I had the ability, I had won games, I played at the biggest level, but I stopped having fun. I went in to see the psychologist and I was nervous. I thought I was weak. I didn't want anyone to know.
Though talking about it, he says, changed the course of his career.
It became not a stigma for me. It became one of my superpowers. No! Going to see that psychologist, I shouldn't have been embarrassed about. I think that is something that I now preach as a coach.
You need to see Lacy.
Yeah, todo está bien.
It's almost as if you're normalizing it in a way.
Literally, that is what it is. At the start, there was 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and now there is 2 feet in.
Well, we'll just start where we are right now. Let's take a breath in together.
In the Timbers locker room,
there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to be.
Lacy guides us through a grounding exercise. The team now does this before every game to clear their minds.
This is your safe space whenever you need it.
And focus on the moment.
I get 2 minutes. I get about 2. Every now and then I'll squeeze in 3.
2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes can make a difference. It's not about the amount of time you spend. This is consistently showing up. So even if it's just one breath, being still, that's mindfulness. That's doing the work. That's practice.
And as we head to the sidelines,
what's the feeling you get when you walk out here?
It's a moment of peace.
We learn Lacy's new role is about much more than just performance on the pitch.
I'm trying to allow the moments where an athlete can just accept where they are.
Teaching the Timbers a whole new language around mental wellness.
At least start the conversation, maybe even change that conversation.
Yes,
too.
yep.
That can help them grow and evolve, not only as players.
It's a balance, it's a dance.
But as people.
One, it's a message to the athletes that it's something they should take serious for themselves. And 2, it's a message, I think, for the league, for greater sports in general, that this needs to be prioritized. I think it's important to talk about it because it's better out than in, baby. If you can name it, you can tame it. And I think that's the work, is just talking.
And she is just getting started. Day to day for now, that might look like mindfulness, meditation, post-game mental debriefs, and even one-on-one sessions to figure out what players and even other coaches need to perform better both on and off the pitch. Guess what? We have much more with Lacy Henderson streaming this evening at 8 on our free TV app. It is KGW+, including why she thinks it's important to be a visible woman with a disability in mainstream men's professional sports, and what head coach Phil Neville does to take care of his mental health. Just look for Talk About It Timbers on KGW Plus tonight at 8 and on demand anytime after that.